Hello, welcome back to this lesson called Writing Like a Pro. We've already spent a bit of time to understand the structure of a press release. Now I'm going to walk you through this in a step-by-step guide so that in future you can refer back to this and you will never ever be lost when writing a press release if you refer back to this guide. You can also download this in the ebook that we'll attach to the course. Are you ready? Let's get started. Now you want to stand out from other press releases, and you also want to stand out from search results in Google. And to me that is a really easy test. When I'm looking at my headline and I'm asking myself the question, is my headline good enough? If you think that there's sufficient reason for people to pick your article in Google instead of 20 other articles because you've differentiated it well enough, then yes, you're right. You will also be able to get picked up easier by the press when you send your press release to them. Now then we're going to have the subheading as well, and the subheading is slightly longer than the main heading. Again, not too long, and then we move on to the paragraphs. Now this, at the paragraphs, this way your press release gets differentiated from an actual article, because an article is going to cover 3 pages or more, and a press release is going to stick to 1 page, maximum 2. Now, you can't be writing a bit of waffle on 1 page. Your first paragraph will need to answer the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, and the how dynamics. Let's take a look at this a little bit more closely. Your who, here you're going to just name the key players, the people who are closely involved with your company and your product. Then jumping on to the what, which is the news that you're sharing, or what is there about your product to be known. And then we're moving on to the when, which is the date. When is this new product being released? And the where, so this is your geographical locations, like we've launched this from our London office or our New York office. Then we move on to the why, which is why is your news important and why is it relevant? And then we can move on to the how, which is you're going to answer here the question as in the details surrounding your news. How did you get your new product? Or why is it that you've been moving offices? And you'll explain that. In the first paragraph, you need to be able to give your news in a nutshell. So make sure here that your who and your what is clear and quite easy to understand. This is the heart of your press release. Subsequent paragraphs then will add more information strategically and carefully to the first paragraph. And here we add some meat to the bone of our press release. And these subsequent paragraphs will more than likely be brief and they'll cover the information surrounding the company or the product. Again, short to the point, but at the same time, we're not going to be fragmented or write in bullet points because that will not be considered a press release. All the paragraphs, just a couple of sentences that flows into each other. If you know about linking sentences, then you'll know exactly what to do. If you haven't done academic writing yet, I would propose that you read up on how to link sentences or link paragraphs, because this will be very helpful. If your release goes over 1 page, at the bottom just indicate to your reader that they need to continue to the next page. Of course, you can throw in a quote. This is very good to have a quote from your company. The quote needs to add some extra clout to your press release, and it's done by an official of the company that gets quoted again in the media. Right, then we've got the call to action, because here you're going to include a link to your website. And this will send people to your website to access their free trial or their free subscription, whatever it is that you use to entice them as a call of action. You need to be able to point people to your site obviously so that you can generate traffic and analyze what has been happening. And that's why this element is so important. Then we're moving on to the contact information. Again, this is really important for our credibility. So include in your press release how you can be contacted. Ensure that the contact details are accurate and that the person that you list is going to be available to take any inquiries. Right, then you type the end of the press release to signal that the press release is complete and the reader is at an end, because this will help you to finish it neatly and clearly, and the press understands this as well. Now if we have a look at the formatting itself, at the top of your press release you just need to indicate to the journalist and the editors the timing that the press release should go out. So when is it ideal to be published? Is it Friday the 1st or whichever date? It can be released immediately if you indicate so. If you need your press release to be held until a specific date, then you will just write hold until and you will insert the correct date of the release. The media is quite up to speed with this as long as you can just communicate that to them. Then address your press release with your address and your date specifically. This will be before your main heading. Remember to put the date and your address before your main heading. It helps to tell your readers where you are based and the date of your press release. Just a note here, guys, never write your opinions into your press release. Only write in the third person. This will keep your press release professional and objective, okay? Your press release should be written in a typical writing font, double spaced, and it should include some page numbers. Your company logo, incorporate that for us into the press release. Try to put it at the top of your release, at the top in the middle, because this furthers the professional touch that you want to add. You want your company logo to have a good and professional reputation, so getting it into press releases is hugely beneficial. Great. Guys, this is all we need to know for this lesson. You've done really well so far. Little by little you're becoming way more knowledgeable than the average person about press releases, and you're gonna make it past those gatekeepers to get your press releases in with all the main releases. Great. Let's move on to the next lesson whenever you're ready.